For all the talk that President Trump is divisive and uses inflammatory rhetoric, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson just invoked the Civil War. This coming after ICE was attacked by at least 10 vehicles in Chicago, and they were threatened by a woman with a weapon. This is exactly what Brandon Johnson said at a press conference this morning.
I said very candidly that the right wing in this country wants a rematch of the Civil War. I want that to sit in right now, because the President of the United States of America has declared war on the people of Chicago and people across America.
That's right.
He's more interested in giving billions of dollars to other nations, while farmers in urban cities around this country are literally being destabilized. And so whether it's the legal system, whether it's through executive order, or whether it's through the brave women and men who are serving as rapid responders. We literally have people who are volunteering in this city, on the southwest side, the northwest side, all over this city, to make sure that we're protecting children from being separated from their families. And we're talking about volunteers who are literally putting themselves at risk of being shot and killed by the federal government. And so whether it's the legal system, whether it's our continuous struggle for liberation through organizing, and whether it's through executive action, or whether it's through law, it would be nice if we actually had lawmakers in Washington that would actually hold this president accountable. And if they won't do it, then the city of Chicago will, using every single tool that's available to us.
Virtually everything he said in that 2-minute clip, no, not just that moment, but the entire press conference was a lie. It was just factually wrong. First of all, he claimed that President Trump somehow declared war on the people of Chicago. No, I'm sorry. If ICE is going after illegal immigrants, many of whom are violent criminals with long rap sheets and records and gang members and drug traffickers, sex traffickers, that's not declaring war on citizens of America. How is that declaring war on Chicago if you're going after illegal immigrants? So that right there doesn't even make sense. And then this lie that President Trump wants to give billions of dollars to countries. I mean, that first of all, that doesn't make sense. We all know that President Trump has been less bullish on the war in Ukraine compared to, let's say, the Democrats. He was responsible for gutting and making sure that there is as little waste, fraud, and abuse as possible in USAID. You take a look at everything that Doge has done. No, President Trump isn't trying to send billions of dollars overseas. That is the Democrats. That was USAID. So that claim right there is nonsense, and I don't see how that relates to this argument he's trying to make about ICE in the first place. Like, he started talking about farmers there. Like, where is this connection to ICE and your supposed war from President Trump on Chicago? It just makes no sense right there. But what's especially dangerous about Brandon Johnson's words is that ICE is literally under attack right now. You take a look at what happened in Texas just a few days ago when ICE agents were gunned down at a facility. And unfortunately, that wasn't the first time. You take a look at what happened in California all summer, or in the Pacific Northwest. And then, heck, just this weekend in Chicago, like I referenced earlier, ICE agents were boxed in by 10 vehicles. This has been called a coordinated attack. DHS has referred to it as domestic terrorism, obviously by leftists here. And it unfortunately is so common that there are videos like this one right here all over social media of vehicles ramming into ICE agents. Now, this isn't the same incident as the one where there were agents boxed in by 10 cars. Apparently, there's no footage of that. But, I mean, for people to be this brazen, to not even care about their personal property, let alone their lives, apparently, and the lives of ICE agents, to literally put themselves and other people and bystanders in danger, I think is really despicable. Now, in regards to this instance with the 10 cars boxing in those ICE agents, it really is crazy if you haven't heard about this. So according to CNN, CPB agent shot at driver who rammed her car at law enforcement vehicle, criminal complaint says. So in this headline, they don't even acknowledge that there were 9 other cars involved in this attack. And Brandon Johnson referenced this in his speech. He referenced, peaceful protesters being shot by ICE, peaceful protesters being shot by federal agents. No, If you are boxing in ICE agents with 10 vehicles, how else are they supposed to view that other than aggression and their lives in danger? On top of that, she had a weapon on her. No, I'm not talking about a normal handgun. She had a high-powered rifle on her. Now, what makes matters worse is that ICE agents actually called for help from the Chicago Police Department, and they didn't come. According to the Western Journal, Chicago police officers ordered not to help ICE agents in distress. No units will respond. And this was actually confirmed, by the way, by a screenshot of the dispatch. You can see Chief of Patrol, no units will respond to this. And then you can see the caller is one of approximately 30 armed Border Patrol agents, ICE, who are being surrounded by a large crowd of people requesting CPD, the Chicago Police Department. Now, what's particularly interesting is the media coverage in all of this. Just take a look at this first headline from CBS News. Federal agents shoot woman in Chicago neighborhood after allegedly being rammed, boxed in by cars, DHS says. Now, there is a lot wrong with that headline right there. First of all, it's interesting that they lead with a woman being shot. You know, they could have led with ICE agents being attacked. They could have led with 10 cars, 10 people coordinating this attack. It would be one thing if this was one random, deranged, crazed individual, but the fact that 10 people coordinated, agreed, and were willing to do this says a lot about the temperature and the climate that we're in right now. It says a lot about the propaganda that the left is pushing out there. First of all, they lead with the fact that it was a woman who was shot. So obviously they're trying to play on heartstrings. They're trying to get sympathy for the aggressor here, but then they also say, after allegedly being rammed, boxed in by cars, DHS says. Well, if the DHS says something, by definition, that is what they are alleging. So using the word allegedly in your headline is actually repetitive and redundant, unless you're intentionally using the word as manipulative editorial guidance to shift the viewer, to shift the reader into thinking, oh, we can't trust the DHS. This is just according to them. We can't trust them because they're part of the Trump administration. And, oh, everyone knows you can't trust anything President Trump says. So if we take a look at just this first headline again, federal agents shoot woman in Chicago. First of all, that's not the story. Neighborhood after allegedly being rammed. So we're going to throw doubt on this government statement, boxed in by cars, DHS says. Forget about the fact that we have screenshots and audio recordings of the dispatch where they're instructed not to go. And in fact, the superintendent of the Chicago Police Department, shortly after Brandon Johnson gave his press conference, went out there today and he confirmed that, yes, ICE agents were attacked in Chicago.
Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that. And you are putting yourself in danger. Following law enforcement agents around. The question is why?
I think we all know why, and that's what makes Brandon Johnson's words so dangerous. The fact that he claimed that President Trump has declared war on Chicago. Well, what does that make ICE? Well, that makes ICE his army. And so this is only going to incite violence from radical people in Chicago to continue taking action against ICE. Now, look, I didn't like anything that Brandon Johnson said. I think it's despicable that Chicago Police Department decided not to respond to ICE agents in distress. Now, despite everything that they're doing wrong, I have to give kudos to what that superintendent said right there, because he at least is acknowledging reality. You know, he shouldn't even have to say this stuff in the first place, but the fact that the leadership in that city is so corrupt, I'm glad that he at least is saying it. Well, it is so corrupt that Brandon Johnson issued an executive order declaring that Chicago is now an ICE-free zone.
Today, we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
Well, Mayor Johnson, you may want to retake a look at the United States Constitution, specifically Article 4. This Constitution and the laws of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Well, President Trump, as the head of the executive branch, he has the duty, he has the obligation to enforce our federal laws, and yes, that involves making sure that our borders are secure and that people are not in the country illegally. As you can imagine, Brandon Johnson's press conference, as well as his executive order, set off a firestorm. One of my favorite responses was from Congressman Byron Donalds, who wrote, "March, I asked Chicago Mayor how much of your money he wastes on illegals. He didn't know. June, I asked Governor Pritzker the same question. He didn't know either. October, Chicago is creating ICE government-free zones. They unapologetically put criminal illegals first. This is insanity," and he backed it up by sharing this video.
Governor Pritzker, how much does the state of Illinois spend on illegal immigration every year?
Again, illegal immigration, that's a federal responsibility. They could tell how much is wasted as a result of their failures.
Governor, don't you keep track of how many people are on your Medicaid rolls, how many people who are illegal immigrants in the state of Illinois who are getting actually benefits in your state? Doesn't your government keep track of that?
They don't get Medicaid in Illinois or any state as far as I know.
Governor Pritzker, you do not keep track of any public service dollars in the state of Illinois that goes to illegal immigrants or goes to people in your state who are not legal residents of the United States and of the state of Illinois. You don't keep track of that.
We absolutely keep track of our budget. We're very closely, and in fact, it's been balanced for 7 years in a row, unlike the Republican before me. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I noticed that in the state of Illinois, you guys don't really keep track of your money, because I asked your mayor in Chicago similar question about a month ago, and he didn't have an answer. It was quite interesting. I think this might be an Illinois problem. How much has the city of Chicago spent on illegal immigration?
If you're referring to the 2022 up to 2024 of the buses coming from Texas, roughly the same percentage of the state of Texas, about 1% of our overall budget.
What is that? Because we don't have the city's budget in front of me. Numbers.
It's 1%, and if you want the actual calculation, we can make sure someone...
You're the mayor. You don't have the math in front of you?
It's 1% of the overall budget over the last 4 years.
That's why you're a failing
which
mayor.
is the
Mayor
same
Adams,
number that
how
was
much
sent
did the city
from us
of New York
from the
actually
state
spend
of
on
Texas.
illegal immigration? Mayor Johnson, I already asked you. You don't have a hard number. And if you don't have a hard number, you're not running your city well.
As you can imagine, all the other mayors had hard numbers, and they were able to answer Byron Donalds' questions without any issue. Now, unfortunately, this chaos isn't just happening in Chicago. The Democrats, of course, are blaming it on President Trump. They're saying he's instigating the violence. He's instigating, this political violence by sending ICE out to do their job, to uphold the law, to protect American citizens. But this also is happening in Portland. ICE is being attacked there, and that's why President Trump sent the National Guard there to make sure that federal facilities, federal property, and federal employees are kept safe, to make sure that law and order is restored in that city. Well, Caroline Leavitt was challenged on that during today's press briefing at the White House, and she had a great answer. It was a total mic drop to CNN's Caitlin Collins. But before I show you that video, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club at JD Weatherfly, Jeremy 2001 Happy, ×2, Bama Riddenauer, Dennis Nevin, and Lavon. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you enjoy. Without further ado, here is Caroline Leavitt to CNN's Caitlin Collins.
I would encourage you as a reporter to go on the ground and to take a look at it for yourself, because there's been many members of the press, not press in this room, but independent journalists, some of whom we'll be inviting to the White House very soon to share their stories, because they have been in the middle of these riots and they have witnessed the anarchy that is taking place night after night. It's on video. You should play it on your show. You have a great opportunity on prime time on CNN to show your audience. Yeah, but you're probably talking to partisan Democrat officials who are opposed to everything this president president does. You should also ask the people who live in Portland. We've actually heard from many members of the community who have said that this is complete civil disobedience. It's a mess. It's been loud. It's been troubling for neighbors in the community who are just trying to live peacefully. And these people are not there to peacefully protest. They are there to cause mayhem and havoc.
Yeah, you see what Andy Ngo is posting on X, or Nick Sorter, who's been attacked, I believe, 2 times now. It just is absolutely crazy what's happened in Portland. I wanted to end this video on a personal note. I know I haven't uploaded in 9 days. I did not mean to be away for that long, so I'm sorry. I wanted to provide a little bit of an explanation. Things have been mostly good. It's been a mixed bag. Things have been up and down. You know, sometimes I take a break from YouTube and it's almost always unintentional, and it just, you know, happens that way. Like during the holidays, of course, obviously, like I'm going to take a break, as I imagine you guys will too, from work. But as many of you know, I am a professional actor, and so I actually spent 2 days on set, and so it was initially just going to be a 2-day break, and I was going to resume YouTube on the 3rd day, and then unfortunately we had a death in the family, and so that also took some time away, and then just a few health issues. But the thing that's been taking up most, and I'm going in chronological order here, not in order of importance, of course. But the thing that's sort of been on my mind and will be consuming my bandwidth, honestly, until November 15th. So I may miss a day here or there, and if that happens, hopefully it's just a day and it doesn't turn into a 9-day stretch again. Like I said, did not mean for that to happen. But I referenced this earlier in the year, and I know there are a lot of new subscribers here, so many of you don't know this, but I also play the piano. I am entering 2 concerto competitions. For those of you who don't know, a concerto is basically a duet between a solo instrument and an orchestra. And so the winner of both of these concerto competitions gets to give a solo concert with the Philharmonic Orchestra. And so obviously I want to win that. Now, this is open to every instrument. I'm entering on piano, and I said, you know, if I'm going to enter this, I want to win. So I chose one of the hardest piano concertos ever written. It's Rachmaninoff's 3rd Piano Concerto in D minor. So with that being said, I'd been practicing this like 3 hours a day since May. It's been like consuming my mind. And the disaster that happened was my accompanist. So you play with another pianist, or in my case, another pianist, who plays a reduction of the orchestral part, and you know, compete with them. And my accompanist fell and now can no longer play for me. And so I've been scrambling, trying to find someone with the chops who can learn Rock 3 fast enough, and then find a rehearsal space with 2 grand pianos. It's been an absolute nightmare. And the first competition, the first round, is next Sunday. So I have a week to find another pianist. It is not looking good, and I've already settled on the fact that if I need to get on that stage and perform solo just to make it to the final round, I'm going to do so, because I've put in too much time. But fortunately, the second competition isn't until October 28th, so I have a bit longer of a runway to find an accompanist. But with that being said, yeah, acting work, family stuff, health stuff, and then this concerto competition really just consumed my week. I guess a little over a week, and before you knew it, it was 9 days and I haven't uploaded. So I'm sorry. I felt like I owed everyone a bit of an explanation. So thank you for those of you who have emailed and sent Facebook messages. And I'm sorry I didn't like respond in full to everyone. So what I'm going to do is my intention is to like send this link out like to a timestamp of this moment, just so you get what's going on and you're not worried about me. I haven't been shadow banned or anything like that. Though I am taking moves in case that ever happens. But yeah, thank you for inquiring and for caring. And thank you, if you're still watching, for watching to the end of the video. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. By the way, if I do end up winning these concerto competitions, I will definitely invite you. I know a lot of you... I've been coy about where I live, obviously, for my own safety, but many of you have referenced where you live, and I know a good portion of you actually live where I am. MAGA Meg, let me think. Jordan, Peter, Christine, all of you who leave comments. Those are just a few of the ones I know who are in my area. So if I win, I'll obviously invite people on the channel to come see me play with the orchestra. Hopefully, it would be a total of 4 concerts. And at the very least, I would share the video on the channel. But yeah, if you haven't already, please be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.